Do you ever think how lucky we are to have all the technological luxuries at our disposal? I mean, we've got smartphones, Wi Fi, and even have access to such apps that can bring anything to our doorstep. But let's not forget that there are some countries where even a landline phone is a luxury. Crazy, right? It may sound surprising, but there are actually 10 countries where technology hasn't progressed much in the past 20 years. In this video, we'll talk about the challenges these countries are facing and how it's affecting their progress. Starting with the 10th country on our list, Laos. Sadly, they're facing some major challenges that are really holding back their technological progress. One issue that has led to an increase in illegal trading and farming of natural resources is communal disharmony. This has also caused crime rates to rise and unfortunately made Laos one of the most corrupt countries in the world. To make matters worse, one-third of Laos' population earns less than $1.25 a day, which is just crazy. This makes Laos one of the most poorest countries out there. According to the Global Hunger Index in 2015, Laos also ranked 29th among the 52 hungriest countries. Right now, Laos is making most of its money through trade with neighboring countries. But it's going to be tough for them to move up economically and socially without better infrastructure and technological advancements. Next up, we have Tanzania, a beautiful African country with a lot of potential, but is currently facing some significant challenges, which is why they're struggling with technology. One of the biggest reasons for this is the rampant crime seen throughout most of its areas. To make things worse, 18% of electricity generated in 2012 was either stolen or not equally distributed among the population. That's why power cutoffs and blackouts are pretty common in Tanzania, which makes it pretty challenging for the country to move forward. To survive, people often resort to stealing valuable equipment and selling it for personal profit, since they struggle to find enough money for food. So heartbreaking to see people struggle to make ends meet. Moving on to number 8 on our list, we have Mozambique, an East African country that's often overlooked despite being a treasure trove of natural resources. Sadly, they were still recovering from the civil war when they were shortly after hit by floods due to their poor infrastructure. All of this has slowed down the country's progress so much that now they have a lot of catching up to do, even on the most basic of things, such as clean drinking water, sanitation, and even education. But the good news is Mozambique is making a recovery slowly, thanks to its tourism and transportation industry. So maybe they can shift their focus on making technological advancements there. On number 7, we have Lesotho, a small South African country that's dealing with the biggest HIV epidemic. It's so bad that around 50% of women under 40 in urban areas have HIV. And to make matters worse, Lesotho has the highest rape rate in the world. According to the UN, 91.9 out of 100,000 women reported being raped every year. The people of Lesotho are also struggling for basic stuff like the lack of healthcare and education. Sadly, these are the issues that's holding the country back in their technological progress. Up next is a country that many people don't even know of. It's called Burkina Faso. The two big issues this African country is facing are terrorism and corruption. There has been a long history of political instability, and that's been the major obstacle as to why the country is not progressing. Much like many other African countries, they also have water shortage and sanitation issues. It's so bad out there that according to European Commission, 500,000 children under 5 years of age suffer from severe malnutrition in Burkina Faso. The country's past is filled with wars and political disharmony. But we really hope the new government puts its focus towards fixing the education and healthcare systems at least. Now let's talk about Cambodia, a lower middle income country in Southeast Asia. If you're wondering why is it ranked as the 5th most technologically backward country in the world, well, to tell you, it's got a lot to do with their lack of political freedom, high poverty rate, corruption and low human development. And even though they're surrounded by countries like Thailand and Vietnam, their trading and communication with the rest of the world is pretty much cut off. We think it's a major roadblock to technological progress. Moving forward, if they want to get their situation better, then we think the government needs to work on improving political freedom, reducing poverty, and fighting corruption. They also need to invest in better technology and infrastructure to connect with the rest of the world. Now, on number 4, we have another Asian country, Bhutan. It's a beautiful country that's sadly still under the rule of monarchy. And probably that's why they're so behind in the tech game. On top of that, they're landlocked and don't have railways, which is a bummer for their industrial growth. Many people say that the real reason why they're not progressing is because they choose to not introduce technology, so they can conserve nature and reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Up next, we have the Caribbean island of Haiti. The country is recovering from the devastating earthquake that hit back in 2010, which makes it one of the least technologically advanced countries in the world. Believe it or not, the country is so backward that they don't even have telecommunication, electricity, or even a proper education system for that matter. And despite getting billions as financial aid from the US, their economy is still ranked as the lowest according to the World Economic Forum's Network Readiness Index. And now we're talking about North Korea, which is one of the most secretive countries in the world. It is said to be the second least technologically advanced country in the world, or so we know. The said reason for this is the dictatorship in the country. The people in North Korea are forbidden to use the internet or even own mobile phones, with only 4.7% of the population having access to landlines. So there's no interaction with the world outside whatsoever. All in all, it's a pretty bleak situation over there. And we hope the human rights violation in the country ends pretty soon. Now it's time for the least technologically advanced country, and that's the Pacific island of Kiribati. This country is good 20 years behind when it comes to tech advancements. And that's probably because it's so far away from rest of the world. Kiribati is also in a terrible global warming situation, and due to that, the people are facing health issues. With all of these issues at hand, the country of Kiribati is in a tough situation and could definitely use some help. And with that, it's the wrap from today's episode of the 10 countries where technology is 20 years behind than rest of the world. What did you think of our list? Let us know in the comments below. And if you like this video, give us a big thumbs up and share it with your friends and family. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel to stay updated with our latest content. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one.